Using Fujifilm recipes is an absolute blast. In this video, I'm going to share 5 recipes that I think you should try on your Fujifilm camera. If you're new to this series, this is episode 9, so there's 8 other videos just like this where I review Fujifilm recipes, share example photos, and share with you how you can use them best. Now, just to note before we get started, I didn't create any of these recipes. These are all recipes I found online, and I'll link the creators of the recipes in the description below. With that, let's get into it. Astia Pops. Astia Pops is the perfect recipe for a low contrast look without overdoing it. The Astia Film Sim base gives some really nice punchy colors that makes the images stand out from other recipes. I do find this recipe isn't the best when it comes to skin tones though. It's not terrible, but realistic skin tones isn't this recipe's strong suit. That being said, I did really enjoy it for street photography. The Astia base also lends itself well for landscapes. It's got the punchy colors to make nature really pop. No matter the type of photography you're shooting, this recipe gives off some really fun colors and a dreamy look. There's not a ton of recipes that use Astia, so definitely give this one a try. Classic Cuban Negative. This recipe took the Fuji community by storm. On bright sunny days, this recipe looks great, giving a bit more of a pastel look in the midtones and highlights, but the shadows still retain a nice contrast. In conditions with less light, Classic Cuban Negative totes the line of being a more stylized recipe, but doesn't overdo it. It's got a noticeable warm tint due to the red-leaning white balance shift, and I find it really shows when you have darker environments like overcast days. The strong and large grain settings help to give the photos a really nice texture. If you want a really good recipe for spring and summer sunny days, this could be great, or if you want a more stylized recipe for overcast days, this also works really well. As you can see, there's a reason this recipe got so popular so quickly. Moody Metropolis. Moody Metropolis is well deserving of its name. Inspired by the Joker movie, this recipe gives a great moody look during all sorts of lighting conditions. When the sky is gray, I find the photos have a more blue tone due to the fluorescent light-white balance. However, if you're indoors or have a day with warmer light or at night, you get a really contrasty, warm, moody look due to the -6 blue-white balance shift. The weak and small grain settings add to the moodiness while not overdoing it. If you're looking for a moody look in all sorts of conditions, Moody Metropolis is the one for you. Cinematic Gold. If you're not into the moody look but still like the colors of Moody Metropolis, Cinematic Gold may be perfect for you. The daylight white balance with the +4 red shift gives a warm tone to your images. However, the cooler tones don't get overpowered and sit really nicely in the shadows. This gives the recipe really solid color contrast that I enjoyed a ton. Now, on bright sunny days, this recipe can feel a bit more stylized due to that really big warm shift, but I still really enjoyed it, and I don't think it took away from the photos. I wouldn't use this a lot with artificial light, but outdoors on a sunny day or overcast day, this recipe has a really enjoyable cinematic feel. Now, I know not everyone likes to use the term cinematic, but this recipe does really give the most cinematic colors out of all the recipes I talk about in this video today. T-Max 100 Hardtone. Like every video in this series, I love to include a black and white recipe. T-Max 100 Hardtone may be my favorite one yet. In fact, I shot a whole month of photography only using this recipe. I've got a whole video on that linked below if you're interested. Anyway, this recipe is a really solid do-it-all monochrome look. I really liked how the contrast can be dialed up or down based on how you expose your image. I also like how this doesn't feel too digital, but also not too film-like. The weak and large grain settings strike a perfect balance for this look. T-Max 100 Hardtone pretty much handles any lighting condition you can throw at it, from bright and sunny to overcast to a dark night, and that's one of the things I love about it. If you prefer a bit less contrast, there's also T-Max 100 Soft Tone with a bit more of a gradual look between the highlights and the shadows. Either way, T-Max 100 Hardtone is a solid, versatile monochrome recipe. If you choose to use any of these recipes, I'd love to see what you create with them, so make sure to tag me in the photos so I can check them out. Like I said earlier, I've got 8 other videos just like this with a ton of great other recipes that you should try, and I definitely recommend checking them out if you're interested in Fujifilm recipes. For now, go ahead and shoot some photos. Thanks for watching.